death. So today we're going to take a look at the Curious Shepherd from Sideshow Collectibles. Now this is I don't think it's a maquette. I think it's I'll show you guys later. It's a very weird material, but it's a statue of the Shepherd Death. Now the Court of the Dead is a very interesting series from Sideshow. It's their original IP. And they have some weird, freaky looking characters in this lineup, especially this guy, Death. I picked this guy up, I think last year. I pre-ordered him. I pre-ordered him because he had such a weird color scheme and his overall style is very nice. He was one of those. Now, I don't really buy statues a lot, but this guy in particular spoke to me. He said buy me, so I did. And I just want to see how they execute this type of statue, because when I saw the promo pics, it was very, very weird looking. In this universe, Death is, I don't want to say leader, but I guess a shepherd for 3 factions: Spirit, Bone, and Flesh. And they're trying to overthrow heaven and hell and save humanity or something. Because in this universe, Death splits the souls he collects from the humans, and he splits them up between heaven and hell. But I think after eons of doing so, he got kind of annoyed or fed up, and I guess he wants to take matters into his own hands. So that's the gist of the story of Death. You guys, there's a lot of lore of Death on the web, especially on Sideshow's website. If you guys want to read up, there's also like animated videos and stuff about him. So with that being said, let's take a look at this weirdo. And here he is, Death. And as you can see, this is a very, very unique looking statue. Now, I'll give you guys a closer look, but he's not a maquette. He's just a weird plastic rubbery type material. Unfortunately, this plastic or rubbery material is very flexible. So if you put this guy in a very warm area, I'm scared he might flex. Like he might lean back and forth. I think he's doing it right now, but I don't know if that's on purpose, this leaning he has here. Because from the promo pics, he looks like he was standing up straight. I guess he's a little straight here, but he is leaning this way. But as you can see the weird colors he has. It's a very stylized rendition of Death in this Court of the Dead series, because he doesn't usually look like this. This is a more stylized, artistic outlook. Artistic interpretation of Death. So, let's take a closer look at him. Ta-dum. So here's a closer look at Death himself, and you could see the colors they used to render this statue. I'm really hesitant to call this guy a statue because he's a very rubbery type material. Because if he's maquette or a harder plastic, I would refer to him as a statue, but he is very, very rubbery. It's like he's been cast in one solid rubber. It's really hard to explain because you could see, I don't know if you guys could pick that up, but you could actually see it warp as I press it, which is kind of a bummer. I thought this was going to be more of a statuesque maquette solid piece, but he's kind of rubbery, which I guess I understand because he has a lot of fragile pieces, like the spirit coming out from the skull, his scythe. Yeah, this is him. This is Death. A very, very crookedy guy. You can see how he has a very, very awkward, probably got some back problems shepherding all those souls. So you can see the yellows, the blues, the purples, the dark gray. It's very, very, very nicely painted. That's what captivated me to get this guy, because of the whole color scheme. Like you can see here, he's kind of leaning this way. I really don't know if that's on purpose or maybe because when I got this guy, he was hot. Like temperature wise, he was hot. I mean, the postage, the courier who sent this to me, I guess he had this in his van for hours and in the heat. So I guess that warped him a bit to lean this way. But the thing is, he was in a clamshell, so there was no way he would have moved at all. So I'm guessing this is how he looks. This is how he is leaning. This is how he stands. So this is him. It's gonna be a pretty short review because there's no articulation. There's no accessories that comes with this guy. This is it. This is what you're getting, and you know I'm happy with it. Aside from the material they used, I have one more gripe. Is this fucking base? Look how huge it is. I'm gonna show you some promo pics that I saw last year. There are no circular base things in these pictures. I thought it was just gonna be his cloak and some skulls on the ground. But as you can see here, there's a huge, ugly, circular thing. I guess they couldn't, how do you say, engineer it because of the material. Because if the material was this, and they didn't have this circular piece, this guy would not stand at all. This guy would tip over no problem because there's nothing balancing him at all. So I understand why they did it. I just don't understand why they didn't put it in the promo pics, because if they did, I would have maybe thought twice on getting him, because this base is huge. He will take up a good portion of a detolf shelf. I mean, after you put him in a detolf shelf, there is no room for anything else. So that kind of pissed me off a bit when I saw this, and it's kind of ugly as well. I mean, they didn't really sculpt anything on this base. It's just a flat base. They didn't put like tiling or any stonework or whatever. It's just disgusting when you look at it. It kind of destroys the whole look of this guy a bit when you look at the ground. Aside from the material on the base, that's my only two gripes about this guy. So, with that being said, let's take a close-up. So here's a close-up of Death himself, and this is, I guess, his crown, his death crown. You can see some faces, a skull, his mask. I guess this whole thing is a mask. Then you can see some of his face there. Very stylized. And then you can see the skull he's gripping. And the skull is leaking, or a spirit is coming out of it. If you could see here, if I could focus. And it's like a lady. It's a lady. So I guess the skull belonged to a lady, and this is her ghost. Now in the universe, he is tasked in, well, Death is, his main job is to shepherd souls, I guess. So in this universe, he does the exact same thing. And he separates the soul between heaven and hell. But I guess he got so fed up with his job, because heaven and hell keep quarreling over who has the most souls or whatever, that he wishes to take matters into his own hands and try to find a place for the souls he's collecting, a better place than just be trophies for these two factions. So I guess he a lot of guesswork in this lore. I guess he wants to take these three factions he made. I think he made, or he helped these three factions in his realm, spirit, bone, and flesh, to overtake heaven and hell and do things his way, I guess. But I think there are a little between these three factions. I think there are also a little confrontation between the three to show who's more superior, I guess. I mean, all this lore is on YouTube, so if you guys are willing to look at it, I mean, I think they're like 5-minute shorts, so they're very digestible. They're very interesting artwork as well. I mean, look at that. It's very cartoony, but also a little grotesque as well. Like, it's more like I hate to say it, but it looks more like a Disney type skull. Yeah. Very Disney, very cartoony like, but Death himself is not cartoony at all. He does have some seriousness about him. So this is him. And as you can see, this huge ugly base. I hate this base so much. I mean, it doesn't look circular at all. Does it look circular to you guys? I don't know. It looks like it's just cut with a with an X-Acto knife freehand. And there's no sculpt work at all. It's just smooth. And if you could see, I'm pressing it. This is the material it's made of. It's like I don't know what you call it. It's very rubbery. It's very soft rubber, very soft. It's not hard at all, which, you know, it kind of irks me that this is a soft rubber, because I'm scared of putting this in any, because this room gets hot even when I'm not in it, and some of my toys do warp, do bend a bit because of the heat. So I'm scared this guy might start leaning left, right, backwards, forwards, because the gorillas I have, let's see, that guy Murdoch, is his name Murdoch? Oh no, 2D, sorry. As you can see, 2D over there, I mean, I keep him in a nice area, but he's starting to lean forward now a bit, and I have to bounce him on the glass just to stop the leanage. So yeah, this is it really. I got this guy in today and I just wanted to show it off and make content. There's really not much else to say about this guy, but he is awesome. He is very, 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 very eye-catching. I mean, if you guys have this guy on a shelf alone, he will catch other people's eyes because of the color, because of the sculpt. Because although this first half is kind of minimalist, this other half has a shit ton of detail. So yeah, that's my little review over Death. So let's stick him somewhere in this room, shall we? Unfortunately, I have to stick him on my desk. There's absolutely no room anywhere in my display cases for him, unfortunately. Until I get that new detolf, until the lockdown is lifted, there's really no place for him except, I guess, on my desk. Even Hellboy here is sticking around my desk because there's no room for him. But you know what? That's fine. At least I got him. I got him last year, and I'm glad he's here. So only two gripes really: the material they used and this fucking horrible base. I hate this base. Fuck you. Well, that's my review over this guy. Short and sweet, because there's not a lot of reviews over this particular piece of the Court of the Dead, and I just wanted to show people how it looks and if they wanted to buy it or not. So, with that being said, thanks for watching. And go get him.